All right, welcome back to another Freedom and Wealth Seeker Real Estating Basics Q&A training call. I'm excited to be here with the folks that carved out some time to ask questions. We're going to I got up until an hour. I don't have anything else on the schedule for today. So this is your opportunity. Want to welcome, I see we have a Academy member, David, on the line with us. David, I'm going to unmute because I know you've been working on some things in your market. If you could unmute, I'd like to talk to you. See, we got a
Okay,
couple of more people. Hey, David, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, man. So, David, what's been going on? I know we spoke Wednesday on the training call. What's been going on since?
So since then, I've been building my list of vacant homes in this Washington area. Well, really the suburbs
Yeah,
more so than in the city, but also I found some things in the city also interesting.
gotcha.
So just still continue to build the leads and research and using, getting more and more familiar with using PropStream.
Got it. And how many leads do you have right now?
Well, my
You
area,
know?
I would say like around 30, maybe like 30, 35.
Wow.
I haven't been moving. I haven't, been moving like I want to. But yeah,
Okay.
but in my regular routes, I'm keeping my eyes open.
That seems like the rolling thing for a couple of members that I spoke to this week. They have about 30 to 35 leads
Mm.
that they've been able to acquire in the last couple of weeks. So
Yeah,
I mean, that's good. The next step is, doing the research and getting the phone numbers. I had a conversation with a member today who's working on leads, and I said the next step is getting the phone numbers and then start reaching out to those property owners. Do you
yes. Yeah.
do you have any questions about anything moving
Well, yeah,
forward?
I have questions because in our last session, sometimes if you reach out too prematurely and you haven't prepared yourself for as far as like a contract and locking the deal down, if it's a good if it's good initially. So those contracts,
Okay.
where are those contracts something we have to develop ourselves or
No. So I'll actually send a contract to you. So
okay,
that's a really good question. Like once you get a seller that says yes, I want to sell. Like I have a deal right now that I'll probably be taking pictures of Monday, and the price for the property 75,000. Investors are paying anywhere between 85 and 100,000 for these houses, right? So the first thing that you want to do before you make an offer, you got to make sure that the numbers make sense,
right,
where you're going to be in a position to make a profit. There are a
right,
lot of there are a lot of investors that are new, and even some seasoned, depending if they're buying off emotion. Just because a seller says they want to sell, they'll put the property under contract.
right,
So you don't want to just put a house under contract just because someone says yes. You want to make sure that the deal is it's a good deal. It's a profitable deal before you go under contract.
right,
And that goes into looking at the comparable sales in the neighborhood. My rule of thumb is if a seller is looking to sell a property and my goal is to wholesale the property, I need to get the property under contract. I need to control that property for less than what investors have paid in the past.
right,
Whether that's the last 30 days, last 60, 90, last 6 months, I need to put the property under contract for a significant amount less than what investors have been paying. So if investors are paying 35 for properties, I need to be paying 20, or I need to start off at 20. But because I know on average investors are paying 35. And if you sometimes you can get properties cheaper than that. I mean, and this is for all markets, you know, investors may be paying or developers may be paying X amount of dollars, and then you talk to a truly motivated seller that just wants to get rid of it. Sometimes they sell properties pennies on the dollar, like 10 cents on the dollar, 15 cents on the dollar, which which creates huge spreads and huge assignment fees. So when you see, you know, in the past, you've watched some of my student testimonials, David, you see students with $30,000 assignment fees, 50,000, 60, $70,000 assignment fees, is because they were truly dealing with a motivated seller, someone that didn't care to make any money, if not much money at all, from selling their property. So it all depends on the sellers in most cases, and also depends on the comparables.
Right.
Did that help you there?
Yeah, I understand that. Yeah, I tell you, PropStream, everything they put everything right in front of your
Oh
face.
yeah, they do. They make it easy. They make it easy. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I can show you the old way how we do it, how we used to do it, but everything's there,
Yeah.
right at your fingertips now. So it's there's still a lot of work to do. As far as getting the phone numbers, they don't have the best data for that, but you can use, you know, the sites that we make available to get phone numbers.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So if hey David, if you got any other questions, and if Jennifer, Omar, or Lauren, if you have questions, just raise your hand or send me a direct message, and I'll open up the line if you're in a place where you can speak. If not, um, we'll just keep going. I sent out a text. I think it was 2 days ago. It was a house where the ceiling wasn't there. That's one of our members that is actually renovating. That's Isaiah's property, his first rental property that he's renovating. That was the living room of that property. And he's gone through a bit of a learning experience. His project has been held up for about 3 weeks now, going on 4, which is going to be a month. The city of Baltimore, they their permit system went down this 2 weeks ago. So he could not resubmit his permit application because their online system was down, and he actually went downtown to pull the permit as well, and the system there was down, so everything was down. We ended up calling a consultant to kind of push the permit through, try to make people aware down at the permit office that we needed to get this permit approved. We work with a consultant who spent 30 plus years there, and they usually could get on the phone and make the people that work there now aware that there's a pressing matter. So we'll see. That conversation took place on Friday. Hopefully his permit gets approved Monday, bright and early Monday morning, so his contractors can get back on their job and he can get this property renovated and rented out. He actually already has a Section 8 tenant waiting for this property, and the mortgage on this house is probably gonna be he's gonna probably gonna be around 1,300, and he's gonna be renting this property for about 2,100. So he's gonna make a really nice cash flow on this property. And those are just projected numbers, me just thinking about how much he's in on this property for and interest rates right now. But it should be a good rental property for him moving forward. David, you got any other questions? If you do, you could just unmute. Jennifer, Jennifer, how are you? I don't know if you're in
I'm
a place.
awesome.
Hi, good. Nice to hear your voice. Hey Jennifer, what's been going on since you were on Wednesday
Yeah,
nights
I'm here.
you were on Wednesday nights call, right? I think you were there.
Yes. I was.
Gotcha. Gotcha. So what's been going on lately? You're breaking up really bad. I can see you, I just can't hear you, Jennifer.
Yeah, I'm sorry. My computer's acting crazy, so I don't know how long I'm gonna last.
Oh, that's
But
fine.
yeah, but yeah, so basically the South Carolina deal is over. And
Yes.
so I'm actually still looking at it's a lot of properties in DC that's opening up.
Hmm.
Um and so I've been kind of like cruising around, just looking. Um as I'm showing houses and stuff. So
Oh, nice.
I've been seeing yeah, I've been seeing a lot of vacants. I don't know what's going on, but
In DC?
it's a lot of vacants.
This is in DC, right?
Mm-hmm.
Are they posted
Mm-hmm.
vacant? Do they have the
Yeah, I've been they're in the southeast area.
yeah,
And so it's a lot of uncharted territory still in southeast where a lot of people don't want to go. But I'll go.
that's good.
Yeah, I'll go.
I,
So
I still
so
like
yeah, I
Northeast too.
was looking.
I like Northeast.
Hmm.
That's where you did your last deal in Northeast, right?
Yeah, in the Deanwood area.
Yeah. I would venture back
Mm.
into that neighborhood as well. Like, like have
Oh,
you
I haven't stopped.
okay. Have you talked to the seller of your first deal lately?
Yes.
Because I'm pretty sure she has
Yes. She's
has a
still looking for a
network.
senior.
She okay. Have you looked in
I've been
Prince George's
asking
County
her.
for her?
Yes.
Gotcha.
Um, Prince George-
Yeah, Jennifer, you're breaking up really bad. I don't know if it's on my side connection, but if you have any more questions, just type them in the chat. I see we have some new folks here. Ephraim or Gina, Omar, Takesha. If you have questions, raise your hand or put them in the chat. If this is your second real estate investing basics Zoom, the first one we were pretty much in the classroom. I had the slides going over real estate lingo um, from the basics like what is real estate to what is title insurance and just going over those definitions. These are important terms that you need to know. I believe I sent out that replay not too long ago, and you'll be surprised like how many times people will go to settlement and not get title insurance or not verify that it's title insurance on the property or not get a vacant property insurance policy or a construction insurance policy when they purchase or um fire hazard insurance on their property, fire insurance on their property. Um, People don't do it. They buy these cheap houses for three, five, $10,000. Don't get insurance. They burn up. Sometimes they burn down to the ground, and you don't have any insurance. You'll be surprised. You can get a $50,000, 60, $100,000 insurance policy on a vacant house. It'll cost you maybe $600 to $1,200 for the year, depending on where you're at. Okay? This is a good question. Takesha asks, "Is driving for dollars still a thing?" No, it's not. Absolutely, it is. We just call it cruising for profits, Takesha. Um, Driving for dollars is I have to pull out. Okay. Okay, Omar, take care. Driving for dollars, we call it cruising for profits, is definitely still a thing. I love it. I've been doing it since day one, since '02. I didn't know I was actually driving for dollars in '02 when I purchased the tax sale list in my city. I was driving around looking at all the properties I believed that I could afford on that tax sale list. And I noticed that there were properties that were vacant, boarded up, that were not on that list. And that kind of piqued my interest. Like, oh, I wonder if I can get these properties too. So those that technique is something you want to do all the time. Like when I on my way to drop my kid off to school and from school, I come across a vacant lot, a vacant house, house under construction. I'm always taking them down. I'm always taking those properties down all the time. Just today, like I noticed a house with this is like damage to the roof. It was a blue tarp on a roof at 10:18 a.m. today. I put a note in my phone to research that property. So it's always a thing. You get some of the best deals, especially like if you drive past a property and the tenants just moved out, right? If tenants just moved out of property and you're the first investor to see it, and you actually reach out to that landlord before anybody else, you and that landlord at just at that moment is a tired landlord and thought about selling, you could do it. I'm going to see a property this week. Um, Tired landlord. I mean, successful real estate investor. He's just tired of these tenants, and it happens to be a rooming house. There's 4 bedrooms on the second floor and 1 bedroom in the basement. He has one last tenant to get out of his property, which is in the basement, and he's selling the property at a fraction of the appraised value. He's selling the property at a fraction of the market value. So we're starting off getting this house under contract at a great deal at 75,000. It's a corner lot on a street called Edmondson Avenue in my market. And those houses go for anywhere between 85 and 100 at bargain prices. That's what they go for. We may be able to push the market to 120 depending on the condition of this house. And and when I'm saying 85 to 100, those are to investors. Homeowners are paying over 200,000 fully renovated in this neighborhood. This neighborhood is called Emerson Village. So I meant that, so that deal, the 75K, that wasn't a cruising for profits deal. That was actually a referral. I'm just at the right place at the right time. And when you're in this business long enough, people know that this is what you do. People will refer business to you. So that's how I got that deal. I didn't spend any energy on that deal except having a conversation. Takesha, you got some good questions. Keep these coming. Before I go to your next question, do you have any more questions about cruising for profits? What market are you in too? Type in what market you're in, like what city. It's like a couple of you just logged in. I'm gonna tell everybody we're on. Yeah, let me know, Takesha, what market you're in. So again, for the folks that just logged in, if you have any questions about real estate, like now's your time to ask. You can raise your hand if you want to talk, if you want to go video, I'll uh I'll open up your mic. some of my academy members are on with us. So before you logged in, for the folks that just logged in, two of my academy members actually spoke. So I hope I sent that to the right people. Yeah. Let's see. Very saturated. The DMV. Why do you say the DMV saturated? Can you elaborate on that? Can we open your mic up, Takesha? Are you in a place where you can speak? I'd love to talk to you about that. Why do you think that? Let's dig into that. Try to unmute yourself.
Yeah,
It-
can you?
I can hear you. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Good. Good.
And
Takesha, I know this voice.
you know this voice, and thank you so much.
Are you a trainer? Are you a
Yeah,
trainer?
yeah,
Okay, I know who you are.
investor as well.
Good. Yeah. So why do you think the market's saturated though?
Well, just because of the city that we're in, I mean, you're going against real estate developers, you're going against investors, million wholesalers. I mean, that's
What market? What are you in Baltimore?
no, I'm not in Baltimore.
DC?
I'm in DC. Yeah, I
Okay.
do driving for dollars in Maryland,
Yeah.
but but I'm in DC. DC is crazy to do driving for dollars. I mean, is anything available? Everything have red tags on them.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So Jennifer is a student of mine, and she just closed a deal in Northeast, DC. Um, see, that's I'm glad you asked you made that statement because a lot of people that are just getting started may believe that their markets are saturated, but I'm gonna break it down to you. Okay. Um, I don't believe that DC is saturated at all. I don't believe any real estate market is overly saturated. If there is competition in the market, that's one thing, but that's also a good thing because that means money is being made in the market. So on a weekly basis, I may get one or two deals sent to me that are in DC from another wholesaler, right? Um, I've been in the DC market since 2004. One of my first mentors was in the DC market, and I'm talking 2004, the first real estate bubble. So you would think it was saturated then, and it wasn't. And I'll break it down even more. Like just one lead source, like people die every single day. Okay. And in DC, I'm not saying people die every day in DC, but probably if you look at some hard statistics, at least a few people die each month that own property in DC. If some of those people that those properties aren't all gonna go to real estate agents. Some of those properties aren't gonna go to developers. Some of those properties are just sitting vacant because the people that inherited that responsibility don't even know what to do. So that's just one like market that you could focus on in what you may believe is a saturated market. The other side of it is DC is not a landlord friendly city. For landlords that aren't doing Airbnb and things of that nature. So there's some tired landlords that pop up in DC. Okay. So it's all in it's really a belief. Like if you go in believing that it's a saturated market, that and I'm not saying you this is your belief and this is slowing you down, but what I've seen over the years since I've been coaching people is that they'll believe something is true because they've heard it from somebody else. And sometimes, you hear it from a competitor. Yeah, DC saturated. That's because they don't want you in there. Um, and when you believe that, it slows down your hustle. Like it slows you down from taking action. You may drive past a vacant house and say, "Oh, somebody may already have that." Now, I'm not familiar with the red tags on the properties there, but I am familiar. They do, like the DC local government does tag vacant houses, and they actually have a bill that passed years ago, where if it's a vacant, like if you own a vacant property in DC and they know about it, they're gonna tax you at a higher tax. You'll pay higher property taxes on that vacant house than someone that owns a property that's occupied. And that's another lead source. So all these vacant properties in DC, understand like the tax bill could be $7,000 for occupancy. But if it's not occupied, that tax bill could be 14,000. And Baltimore is about to pass that bill too. It's in the state house right now, and we're watching it. And if that happens, it's going to motivate a lot of sellers. It's going to be a nice wave of wholesale deals coming through, and cheap acquisitions to people that are ready and able to buy and hold or buy, fix and flip. And it's also going to create a massive wave of appreciation, just like what we saw in DC. So hopefully that kind of changes your belief on the saturated. I never believe that it's oversaturated because I know too many ways of getting deals. But
Yeah,
it takes action. It takes daily action. Like
absolutely.
I talked to a student today. I said, man, you could go 30 days, no deals. But the 35th day, I'm sorry, you get a deal. So you got to be willing to like put in the work. Like that's for any real estate professional, like realtors, they'll go 30 days with no listing. But they're gonna keep beating the pavement. They're gonna keep knocking on doors, sending out mail pieces, calling prospects, calling high equity leads, calling people that may have purchased their property 15 years ago and it's time to move up. People that have good credit scores or just got pre-approved. Like it's a numbers game. I used to work in college. I used to work in I used to sell home alarm systems to Keisha. I sold home alarm systems part-time in college. I thought it was the best thing since sliced bread. I believe I was making like $18 an hour or something with commission. And I would have to call a list of new homeowners. And we had a board in the office, and we literally would call hundreds of people. And it would be days throughout the week where I would have zero sales. And it was like a free ADT alarm system. But then you would get these super excited homeowners, these motivated homeowners that would want to get a alarm system. And we would sell it right over the phone. Um, so it's a numbers game. This business is a numbers game. You got to have staying power and you got to be willing, like one deal, like I don't know when that deal is going to happen for you, but like for Jennifer, who just spoke earlier, she made 48K on her first wholesale deal. You know, she'd been doing this business for about almost a year, but she has a full-time job. She added an extra $48,000 to her income.
Well,
That you,
congrats, first of all, to Jennifer. And second, can you answer my other question so that maybe I'll
what is that?
a-
See. How did I meet the person? Is that the question? Let's see. What was your other question?
the question was about you said something about tax sale list. You said you purchased a
Oh
tax sale.
yeah. Yeah, I got that tax sale list. So your local government, they have if like you're in DC, so and you can do this anywhere in the country. You just Google the city and the word tax sale office. The words tax sale office, and you find that they'll have a government website. Usually they will have a contact number. So every city, municipality, county around the United States has a tax sale office. You want to find that office, you want to call them, and you want to ask them, do you currently have a list available of properties that have delinquent taxes owed? And then they'll tell you exactly where to get that list. There may be a website where you order it. You may have to send in a check to that office and they mail it to you, or they'll email it to you. Others, they may not have a current list, but they have an upcoming auction date, and you would have to go online. They'll direct you to the website. You'll go online and you'll register. These sites, these tax sale sites are not free. You'll pay a fee of anywhere from $25 to $300. I'm sorry, $25 to $500, and then you'll have access to their list. Some of their lists aren't going to give you addresses. They're going to give you parcel ID numbers. So you're going to have to learn how to look through land records to look up the partial IDs to match the IDs with the actual property address, which could take a very long time, but it could be very fruitful if you dedicate yourself to it, depending on the market. Every market's not like that, but so I hope that does that answer your question?
That helped out a lot. I really I think you probably just helped me get my first deal.
Okay
Thank you
then.
so much.
Definitely. Thanks for logging in.
Absolutely.
So what is the best way? So Jennifer, that's a great question. So in uspropertysearch.com, and that's a free resource I'll give everybody right now. uspropertysearch.com is a site that I've been using since 2017, 2016, I think when it dropped. So uspropertysearch.com is a real estate lead database that you can use to look up information on properties. They actually have tax delinquent properties on their database nationwide. Takesha, it's a really really great platform. All of my students use it, and once you log in, they're gonna ask you to try it for free. You just put in your first name, your last name, and your email, and then they lead you the rest of the way. So Jennifer, it's a link. When you do your filter search, you can it asks you type of property type. You just select multi-unit. And it'll pull up all the multis. And I know you're in the DC market. So DC, like the last time I used that may have been 10 years ago. Use their website. Because I use platforms now, but you could choose multi-units on the DC property search site. Because I used to search all the 4 units in Trinidad when I was a farm in the DC market. I have a question about the previous tax sale in Baltimore. Merrily, what is your question? Hey,
Okay, hi, this is
How are you?
Mary. I'm good. I've been stalling for a while regarding tax sale.
Mhm.
I have the list if anyone is in the Baltimore area.
Mhm.
It's $10 for the list.
Yes. So you have the
And
list, the
I
current
have the
list.
list for the previous
Yeah,
year. The next one comes out in May because the tax sale is in July.
correct.
Just for anybody that's interested.
You mean
Now,
the next one comes out
comes
after
out,
July?
no, it comes out this May for the sale that's coming up in July.
Right. But so the list that you have that's $10, that's the leftover list.
No, that's a complete list for 2022.
Right.
So what
So
my question is,
this is a physical. I just want to make sure I got this right. You got a physical list in your hand.
yes, you
So
go down to
so
Holiday Street
Yeah,
and you tell them you want the tax sale list, they'll discourage you and tell you why not wait until May when the
so,
new list comes
summer,
out.
is it
But I
Mary Lee?
wanted to compare. Yes.
So I'll tell you. So every year I get that list, right?
Mm-hmm.
I've been buying that list since 2002,
Okay.
and just to give you some clarity on it,
Mm-hmm.
whenever you buy a $10 over the counter list
Mm-hmm.
from Baltimore City,
Mm-hmm.
that's always the tax sale properties from the previous tax sale that already
Right.
took place.
Yes.
Okay, so it's not the whole list. It's
Okay.
not like the entire property tax sale list. It's
Okay.
it's what did not sell that year. So if you bought the 2022 list,
Mm-hmm.
the 2022 tax sale took place in May or
Mm,
July of 2022.
yes.
You have what is left over. And if you look at the date, it could say 2021, but you probably do have 2022 because they give tax sales in Baltimore, they give you 2 years to redeem, basically. You get
Oh,
almost 2
okay.
years to
That was
redeem,
my other question.
and and as an investor, you get 2 years to actually foreclose. If it goes past 24 months, that tax sale certificate that you purchased becomes null and void.
Explain that again to me. So,
So
okay.
there's a
What?
deadline. There's a deadline. I don't know. It's usually in March. So if
Okay,
you got
because
2022's list, you
uh-huh.
have up until March 2024 it may be February, but you would have to
Okay.
check with the tax sale office to see how long you have to purchase the tax sale certificate and begin the foreclosure proceedings.
Okay. Now, how long does the foreclosure proceeding take?
Typically about 18 months,
Okay.
but it all depends on the courts. So if
Okay,
like right
because
now that's still backed up from COVID.
yeah, because I'm going there tomorrow because I have some questions and
Yeah.
because there are a lot of, which I know you know, there are a lot of abandoned buildings. And
Yes.
what I notice has been happening because the city wants to unload them, they are
Oh, they
giving
definitely are.
like grants to rehab them.
Yes.
But um, please, if anyone is, I hope you don't get offended by my next statement. We as a people of color are not taking advantage of these opportunities.
Yeah. Hey, look, Marilee, do you know about my academy?
No,
So
I just,
I have a monthly academy. I don't know if you've been on any of my trainings, but
mm-hmm,
I pretty much give my clients the roadmap to buying that first. I have clients that purchase property through tax sale for $300.
yeah.
So
Because there are two buildings right across the street from me, and I try to encourage my kids to understand they don't even visit me. They say, I don't know why you would live in a place like Baltimore. I said, there's method to my madness because there's two things that you cannot lose off is food and real estate. Because people need food to eat and they need somewhere to live.
yes,
So
yes,
I found a site and you might have something better to because a lot of these abandoned properties, it does have an address. Some might have a phone number, but they're not accurate. So I
correct.
found I found a site called, oh God, what is it called again? I'm gonna remember before my finish talking. They will search, and it's a search engine that um, divorce lawyers use.
Okay,
They search, and what they give you, they're 25 years. I looked them up. They're 25 years in business, and they give you the most. They give you the actual address where that person is living right now,
Okay.
phone number and email. But it's
So
$25 per search.
did you look up the people across the street from you?
Yeah, I've looked it up on my own,
Hmm.
and like one of the buildings, it's that address that they have, and I've lived there for 5 years, so I know it's completely abandoned and nobody has been there for 5 years.
Yeah. So
So,
let me ask you this. Let me ask you this.
mhm,
Whenever I refer a site to people, right? It's
mhm,
$25 for one search. That's a lot of money.
yeah,
So have you made any money using that website?
no, I didn't. I
So
just found it.
yeah, I wouldn't
It's called,
recommend it.
I think it's called Skip Tracer.
Yeah, well, skip tracing is a huge industry in itself.
Hmm. Okay.
But I only recommend sites that I've made money with. If I,
Okay.
if it don't make dollars, it don't make sense.
Okay.
But
I
I
got it.
appreciate you sharing the uh the
Yeah,
website with us.
because the reason I got the list and why I'm going tomorrow is
Yes,
I want the list, and if you can help me to word it when I go there tomorrow, I want the list for whatever was sold in the last tax sale.
well, that's the question you want to ask them.
Yeah.
They should be able to give that to you, or
Oh,
they'll direct you to the website where you can find that information.
oh, okay. All right. Yeah,
All
because
right,
there's still money to make. Um,
absolutely.
you know, because if they sold their property for more than you owed them, they're supposed to by law give you that extra money. But if you don't ask for it, you don't get it.
They give you 2 years to get that money.
Uh-huh.
They
So
absolutely.
yeah, so I need to get a power of attorney, find the owner, get a power of attorney document signed, and I'll go chase that money.
Absolutely. And that's the thing, like what I said earlier, you have to you have to put action. I was talking to Takesha, like you have to like put daily action into the information that you're seeking. The information is not going to work unless you work the information. That's basically how it works. Mary Lee, thank you for sharing those insights and asking those questions. We got a couple of more questions here. What's the minimum amount of cash to start? Ephraim asked. It it really depends on the niche strategy. Like if you're gonna go in tax sale, I purchased my first tax sale certificate for $850.79. So, like I said, I have students that have purchased them for $300 to $350. So a few $100. As far as local government foreclosures, tax sales, we're in tax sale season right now, all over the country. Uh, every state is putting up an auction, and at some point, probably up until August. So you're gonna hear that word a lot. We call them local government foreclosures. As you have tax sale certificates and you also have tax deeds. And there's also a tax sale hybrid deed sale. That's some new terminology that some investor coined that investors are investing in. Um, Mary Lee talked about going after the overage. So you have tax sale overages, where, and in most states, if and I'll break it down, if a property is sold at tax sale auction for $5,000, okay, it's sold at auction 5,000. That means the investor, you bid 5,000, you got the tax sale certificate. The owner only owed the city 2,500. Well, there is a gap. Okay, it's a $2,500 surplus. Okay, overage that is really supposed to go to the owner, and that doesn't happen a lot because they don't advertise. The cities and counties don't advertise that, hey, if your property sold at tax sale, hey, come and get this money that's left to you. You got 2 years to redeem it. If you don't, it goes to the city and the state, which is really unfair. and they make billions of dollars nationwide just because of stuff like that that happens. Okay. Let's see. Yeah, I agree with you, Corey. I definitely agree. I definitely agree. We got anybody have some other questions? We got some really good questions tonight. The site that I talked about earlier is uspropertysearch.com. It gives you owners information. You can look up phone numbers there. It gives you tax information, mortgage information. It gives you comparable sales. It gives you mailing addresses. It even does like repair estimates. It does everything. It does like more things than I have fingers. And they're always updating their platform. Tell you more about the Freedom and Wealth Seeker Academy. This is a monthly academy. I teach each and every Wednesday. My members gain access to me via text message. If you're working on a deal, we're talking on the phone. I may, depending on what market you're in, if you're in my market, I'll meet you at properties. If you're in another market, you FaceTime me. I'll go through property tours with you. I'll help you make offers. It's pretty much a hands-on group coaching. And it's a monthly fee of $347 a month. So that's what the academy is. All the trainings are recorded. Our trainings are 1 hour to 2 hours long each week. You gain access to all recordings. You also get access to the boot camp recordings as well. I'll put a link in the chat, and I see some more questions coming in. freedomandwealthseekers.com is where you can actually register for the academy. I just put a link in the chat. Do we focus on foreclosure property? No. If I already bought my first home, will this investment allow us to start? Oh, this is a really good question. So, no, we don't focus on just foreclosures. And this person asked a question, like they already bought their own primary residence and they have a loan. Do they have to, you're leading to, do you have to get another loan? It's really up to you. So traditional banks allow you to get up to four properties in your personal name. So if you use conventional financing, you can get up to 4 properties using conventional financing in your personal name. Now, I don't recommend that because if your goal is to be a real estate investor, you're probably going to end up owning more than 4 properties. And even if you are an investor and you just want to own 4, you're opening up yourself to a huge liability. Like a good attorney could try to sue you for all 4 of your properties or put a lien against all 4, a judgment against all 4 if something happens to a tenant, or like a wrongful death suit if somebody dies in one of your properties because of a fire and they find negligence. They could just sue you for anything. And now they can place a judgment, and that judgment would have to be satisfied if the court agrees, to put a judgment on you. That judgment has to be satisfied at some point before you refinance that property or ever sell that property. So I don't recommend putting properties in your name. Some people do it, and some people get through. I've purchased property literally from landlords that they've owned these properties over 30 years, and they've been in their names for 30 years. They were lucky that nothing happened. But we live in a day and age where people leverage the court system. The other thing is when you're investing, you're usually if you're going to do it using like my system, I tell my students to put their investment properties in LLCs. and then they borrow money from either a private lender or a commercial lender. And a commercial lender is a commercial bank, and they only do commercial loans. So that would not affect like your personal credit if you're getting a non-recourse commercial loan on a rental property. They're basing the loan off of the performance of the property, and they're also looking, they will look at your financials, like your credit score, to get the best interest rate. That's across the board in the banking industry. But you know, I recommend LLCs to commercial financing or private lending. So if you have like rich friends or uncle or family member that has $100,000 just sitting in a account that's giving them like 3 to 5%, well, they can loan it to you at 8%. They're making more money loaning to you at 8% than it's just sitting there, and it's secured by a tangible asset, the real estate. So that money's secure. And I only recommend that when borrowing money from private lenders when you have a track record of success, like you've done multiple projects, at least 5, 3 to 5, and you know you have it down to a science. But that was a really good question. I already bought my first home. Will investment allow us to start in real estate? Yeah, you can start in real estate. And I'm speaking just off of rental property. You can start with local government foreclosure. You can start wholesaling. You can start with rental property. You can start as a home builder. Just because you bought your first home doesn't mean you can't start in real estate. Let me know if that answered your question, Ephraim. I want to make sure I got everybody's question before we go. What is the minimum? Okay, so folks, I'm gonna end this Q&A session here. This was a great call. It looks like I got through everybody's questions. Thank you all for participating, and I look forward to seeing you all at the closing table soon. I'll be texting out some content this week. I plan on visiting the property. Great, I'm glad I answered your question. I plan on visiting the property that I talked about, getting an offer accepted. We're gonna go into contract this week, and I'm gonna do a video there. And I don't know if I'll be able to get in the basement because it's a tenant day. I'll try to, so you guys can see, like, this is an old rooming house that's now going to probably make somebody a really it's going to make somebody a really good rental property. Section 8. A lot of my students are buying rental properties now. So one of my students or former students may buy this property. It could be a buy, fix, and flip, depending on the comps. So we'll talk about that. But this was a great call. I'm looking forward to the next real estate basics class. We'll probably go back in the classroom with slides. But this is a free class. This is one of my ways of giving back, free, giving information freely. And I plan on turning this into like a site with these classes. I do have training. I put a link. Somebody just asked about training. I'm gonna put the link back in the chat, Ephraim, for you. So if you go to that site, we do weekly trainings every Wednesday. It's $347 a month. You also get text support from me personally. So all my students, I converse with one-on-one via text. If you start working on a deal and we've evaluated the deal, we get on the phone and I help you work through the deal to help you close that deal. So it's a hands-on mentorship, group mentorship. There's nothing else like it in the country right now. where you can actually reach, unless you're in a one-on-one coaching program. Now, I do have one-on-one coaching, but do all the states have to go through probate? Pretty much, yeah, from my knowledge, I'm not an estate attorney, but yeah, if they don't have a will, if they don't have a will in place, if that's recorded, it has to go through probate. And then I'm learning about trust now too. So if you have a trust, you're not going to probate. So some people, you know, they die and they have living trust, and then it turns into another type of trust. So that's a good question for an estate attorney, Fernando. So folks, I'm gonna let you go. God bless, and I look forward to seeing you all at the closing table soon. Take care. Bye-bye.